Hi, this is al-Hilo, and this is the first and the number one lecture in this new course, the course on the Scarlet Letter by Hawthorne, the American writer, and to talk a little bit more professional. It is not enough to make a thematic study of literary text. It is not enough to go and look for different themes, just make a very superficial, very outward, uh, insufficient reading of a text, and just give and present our ideas. That might be very naive and very unprofessional, because we need to depend on certain theories when we read, uh, when we study a literary text. We should know where we are standing. We should depend on a theory. We should depend on a literary school, literary criticism. We should depend on a theory in order to know where we are going, because every text has different perspectives. Every text has different context and different ideas. So we should not go and read the text haphazardly and without having a plan in our reading. So we should put a plan in order to have a better reading. You should have concrete and convincing conclusions when we read a text. Here, reading the Scarlet Letter by Hawthorne, it is best to read that theory, that novel, through the theories of ideology, through this ideological manipulation of the minds of the people. So it's best to start and to look for the theory of ideology. What does it mean? What is ideology? And different definitions of ideology in this first lecture, and will move on in presenting our theories. In each lecture, in at least half of the course, we will look and study the theoretical side of this course. Then we will move on to the text itself, because uh, moving on to the text without having any concrete theory, any convincing or professional theory, it is not enough. It is a very naive jump to go directly to the text. So please be patient with me, and let's follow up step by step, and let's find out the different theories of ideology in order to have a perfect and suitable understanding of this novel. By the way, this course is not intended to be. Uh, it is not intended to postgraduate students. It is for undergraduate students. It is for beginners in the field of ideology. It is for those who have just a very simple and introductory ideas about ideology and about the novel. So this course is not intended for postgraduate students. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the slide. What is ideology? First, we should know, what does it mean? What is ideology? An ideology is a set of beliefs and values attributed to a person or group of persons, especially as held for reasons that are not purely epistemic. So, ideology is a set of beliefs. It is a system of beliefs. It is a group of ideas that a person or a group of persons or some people adopt that system of ideas. So it is a group of ideas. It is a group of beliefs that some people, some persons adopt that system in life. Marx defines it as false consciousness. By the way, this concept, this theory, was proposed before Marx himself by Du Tracy, the French sociologist, French philosopher, but it was seriously adopted and studied by Marxism, by Marx and his following theorists. So Marx defines it as false consciousness. So it is really important to look at ideology through this perspective. Of course, this theory is the dominant one. This understanding of ideology is the dominant one. That ideology is false consciousness. It is something bad. It means that it hides the ultimate truth. It hides reality from you. Um, so it is always bad, according to Marx here. But of course, we will find out that it is not necessarily something bad. The leader of an ideology puts the thing upside down and regards his ideology both as creative force and as the aim of all social relations, whereas it is only an expression and symptom of these relations. So, the leader of an ideology, the creator of an ideology, he tries to do what? He always tries to put things upside down. It means that he doesn't give you reality as it is out there in the nature. He always tries to manipulate and turn that truth upside down and give that truth to you. Okay, he because truth by itself, truth as some detached and independent entity is not in service of that leader. So he always try to manipulate, to recreate, to reshape the ideology in order to serve his purposes. So he always puts the thing and truth upside down and regard his ideology, his own way, his policy, his ideas are creative. He is creative. His ideas are creative force. So, because they are creative, they should be adopted and they should be a method of life. And as the aim of all social relations, whereas it is only an expression and symptom of these relations. Whereas in reality, these ideas, this ideology is something bad. It is a symptom. It is some illness. It is some social illness that destroys our life in the society, destroys our relationship with other, with truth outside there. Okay, so ideology always it is an obstacle in our way to reach the ultimate truth. Uh, but by the way, ideology. Before we move on, ideology is everywhere. Wherever you go, wherever you move on, whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you speak yourself, whatever you think in your mind, whatever is there in your mind, everything in this world, absolutely everything in this world is ideological. We do not have ultimate truth by itself. Okay, even God, the creator of this world. Okay, we cannot understand God by ourselves, or we cannot directly reach and understand God by himself. We need some ideology to understand God. What is God? What is the function of God? By the way, we will reach this point, but not all ideologies are bad. Some ideologies are bad, and some ideologies are good. So everything in this world is ideological. There is nothing pure. There is nothing pure at all in this world by itself. So all truths, everything is mixed with ideology, and ideology, of course, could be a very dangerous thing. It can destroy our world. It has the power to make our world hell, or it has the power to make our world a heaven. So it depends on the type of ideology that we adopt. But truth as something detached, truth as objective, there is nothing as truth there in the world. Okay, we always perceive, we always understand truth through certain ideologies, through certain people, through certain ideas. Okay, so we cannot understand truth by itself. As I told you an example, the ultimate truth is God. So we have different ideologies that define God. Some moderate Muslims define God as in their own ways, and we have those extremists like ISIS, like Daesh. Okay, they also define God. So the good people define God, and the good people say that God is our creator, and ISIS, Daesh, also they say that God is our creator. But both parties, both sides, they define God in their own understanding. So God, we cannot understand God by ourselves, or God as something absolute. We should understand God through certain ideologies. So, no truth is detached from ideologies. Uh, recent analysis of ideology is that recent analysis tends to posit that ideology is a coherent system of ideas that rely on a few basic assumptions about reality that may or may not have any factual basis. So, in recent analysis of ideology, those scholars, those theorists, they believe that there is no factual basis. There is no truth inside an ideology. Those theorists, those scholars believe that no ideology contain truth. Of course, this is a very biased and very subjective idea. Of course, we have some ideologies that contain some part of the truth. Okay, otherwise they will not function in a good way. We will reach to that point. Through this system, ideas become coherent, repeated patterns through the subjective ongoing choices that people make. These ideas serve as the seed around which further thought grows. Believers in ideology range from passive acceptance through fervent advocacy to truth belief. This is a very important point that the followers of ideologies mostly, this is the nature of ideology. The followers of ideology, they always try to adopt ideology without rethinking about those ideas, about the rules and theories of that ideology, about the ideas of the ideology. They always adopt certain ideologies as the ultimate truth. Okay, for example, the ISIS fighters, the Daesh fighters. Today we talk about ISIS. I don't know why, but because we all agree that these people are bad people. If I give other examples, we might, at least I might face some problems. Especially I'm in Iraq, and I'm an easy target to be targeted by different ideologies. So I can just easily give very obvious examples of the ideology to be on the safe side. So the followers of ideologies, they always adopt ideology as something for granted, as the ultimate truth. They never think about ideology as it is something that hide us from truth. So this is the problem in the followers of ideology. They never think that this is something bad. Okay, they adopt ideology as the ultimate truth, and this is the problem. For example, the followers of the ISIS fighters, they believe that those extremist ideas, Daesh as an ideology, it is something good, and we should follow that ideology. So that's the problem. Okay. By the way, everything, as I told you, everything is an ideology. Islam is an ideology. Christianity is an ideology. Judaism is an ideology. Buddhism, Hinduism, capitalism, Marxism, Nazism. We have fascism. We have everything is an ideology. All these schools are ideologies. Okay. According to most recent analysis, ideologies are neither necessarily right or wrong. This is a good point that we should all understand, that ideologies are neither necessarily right or wrong. We cannot say that this ideology is bad and that ideology is good. There are no theories, there are no rules that define good ideologies or bad ideologies. But we have theories and rules that define successful ideologies from unsuccessful ideologies. So we cannot say that we do not have some rules to depend on in order to understand which are good and which are bad, which are right or which are wrong. It is a very subjective matter. Okay. Other definitions of ideology. We have other definitions which are less known among people. Okay. Number one, the process of production of meaning, signs, and values in social life. So, one of the goals, one of the functions of ideology is that it produces meaning. Look, for example, as Muslims, okay, you as the who, as my audience, or as Christians, or as uh, Judaists, okay, as Jews, uh, we we the followers of religions, okay, we adopt these religions, these ideologies, because they give meanings to our life, okay. Without these religions we might be lost, we may not understand the true meaning of life. So we adopt those ideologies, these religions, in order to make sense of life, in order to understand life, okay. Because these ideologies, these religions are ideologies, these religions give meaning, they produce meaning in our lives, so we need them, okay, as part of our survival in society. Number two, a body of ideas characteristic of a particular social group or class. This is interesting that ideology plays the role of identity provider, okay. We find our identity through adopting an ideology, okay. We find belongingness. For example, living in a Muslim society, community, okay, we need to belong to that community, because alone we feel lonely, alone we feel weak, so we need power by depending on others. We need to get stronger by depending on our society, on our community. That's why we adopt the ideology, the dominant ideology of our society, in order to get power, in order to understand things more, okay. Number three, ideas that help legitimate or dominant political power. Of course, the most important, or I can say one of the most important purposes of ideology is that it legitimizes, it gives reason uh, for the leaders of the ideology to take the power, the political power. Some people use ideology in order to ascend to the throne, in order to become political leaders and take political power. For example, okay, uh, all American presidents, they depend on Christianity. They present themselves as the lovers of Christianity, that we love Christianity. No American president at all, we can never find even one example that he is against Christianity. All American presidents, okay, uh, up to Trump, up to this moment, up to this 2020, okay, during the presidency of Trump, Donald Trump, all these presidents, they adopt Christianity as an ideology, because they need this ideology in order to take power, in order to take political power. So ideology gives political power. Number four, the medium in which people make sense of their world. This is very similar to number one, that ideology gives meaning, and gives meaning to our world, to our life, and it is important in our life. Number five, action-oriented sets of beliefs. Okay, another function of ideology, another definition of ideology is that ideology, uh, look, it ideology makes us to do things. Okay, it is not only some ideas that they are in our minds. No, ideology makes us do things. They are even good or bad things. Let's go to ISIS fighters, for example. The ideology of extremism, the ideology of ISIS, that ideology make those fighters to go and kill people. Okay, that's why uh, ideologies make people to go and do things in real life. So this lecture was only about the definitions of ideology, and stay tuned for more interesting and for the coming lectures. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. Bye bye.